Let's talk some about the scoring. When you take the essay, you're going to get 3 scores, and I took this directly from the College Board's material. You're going to get a reading score, and the reading score basically shows how well you demonstrated your understanding of the passage. You're going to get an analysis score, which is helpfully defined as how well you analyzed the passage and carried out the task of explaining how the author builds his or her argument to persuade an audience. And then a writing score, basically how well you wrote the piece. So each one is from 1 to 4. So you're going to get a score in 1 to 4 in reading, 1 to 4 in analysis, 1 to 4 in writing. And these scores are not added up. So it's not like you get a 3 to 12 score total, and they're not combined with any other tests. So this essay score is completely separate from the other tests you're going to take. So it's not combined, for example, with the writing test like it was on the old SAT. Totally separate. The 200 to 6 or the 400 to 1600 you get in the multiple choice is totally compartmentalized from this essay, in which you get 3 scores, 4, a 4, and a 4. So now the question is, well, how do I get a 4, a 4, and a 4? And you could, I suppose, look at the rubric. But when you look at this rubric, and I'll just scroll down, we're not going to read through this mess, but when you go through this rubric, it is somewhat helpful, but also not very helpful at all, because again, when we get down to actually writing an essay, we need to be able to translate these requirements to actual text. And it's not obvious how you do that just from reading this rubric. I mean, for example, what is the difference when you're talking about analysis? What is the difference between getting an insightful analysis, which gives you a 4, or crafting an effective analysis, which gets you a 3, or a limited analysis, which gets you a 2, or little or no analysis, which gets you 1. Like if I said, oh, to get a 4, kids, this is what you should do. You should write an insightful analysis. There you go. Not very useful, right? What does that actually mean in practice? So that's what we're going to go through. We're going to look at actually how we get those scores. So if you want to read through this, you can. It's not super helpful. I would recommend just not. So like I said before, what I've done is I've gone through all the essays, every essay that the SAT has released so far, the College Board has released, that were written by students and graded by the College Board. And I looked particularly closely at the high scoring essays, and I extracted the principles, the requirements, the tips, and even a template or two to maximize your chances of getting that 4, 4, and 4. So we're going to look at what essays actually do, learn from those, and then do that when we actually write our own essays. The other thing I want to mention that's a little bit odd is it used to be on the old SAT essay, you would get a score from 1 to 6 about the essay as a whole. So they didn't break it down. You would just get a 1 to 6 score, holistic grading about the quality of the essay in a holistic way. Now that they're grading each of these from 1 to 4, you're squeezing more essays into fewer grading categories, right? Instead of 1 to 6, it's 1 to 4. And sure, you've broken it down into 3 categories, but that really has no overall impact on this score compression. Why this matters is for most students, a 1 or 2, if you look at the 1 or 2 essays, they're just horrible. It's like the 1 essays are like a single paragraph. The 2 essays are like 2 paragraphs. Most students, and especially after you watch this course, you're not going to be writing a 1 or 2 essay in any of the categories. Well, I'll take that back. You won't be writing a 1 or a 2 for sure in the reading or the writing. Analysis can be a bit tricky. We'll talk about that later. Analysis scores tend to lag behind the others. But even then, after watching this course, you're not going to be writing a 2 in the analysis section. It's just not going to happen. So really what we're fighting for then is the 3 versus the 4, weirdly enough. So most students are going to be getting 3s, and our fight really is then to get that 3 to a 4. So because the score range is so compressed, and because they have to fit so many essays into so few scoring categories, as long as we give them the clear signals of a 4, we should have a much better chance of getting a 4. Compare this to getting a 6 on the old SAT essay. That was difficult in many ways because it was so many factors coming into play. There were more gradations between a 4, 5, and a 6 where subtle differences could make a difference. Here, it's not the case. So I think the scoring system is to your advantage, and my goal in this course is to get you all at least a 4 in one of the categories, if not 2, and hopefully a 4 in all 3. That's my ultimate goal, is to get you a 4 reading, a 4 writing, and a 4 analysis. And if you put in the time and the effort, we'll definitely get there. So as I said, our focus then is to how to get a 4, a 4, a 4 in reading, analysis, and writing. And let's learn more about how to do that.